Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I said this on many occasions, and that is the common denominator of tragedies, wars. I'm talking about important wars. Important wars means wars where United States has a dog in the fight, has an interest. So the common denominator of this kind of situation is the United States of America. This is Al Capone. And that is, if you look wherever on this planet, there were wars, military interventions. And I'm not talking about Houthis, even though Houthis and Yemen and Saudi Arabia and others, and United States and others supported certain kind of things over there. You haven't heard of it. Why? It was not interesting and important. That was not our war. But that's why it was something small, regional. We didn't care. But if you look at the big wars after 1991, you have the United States of America always implicated, always in. Russia was not in all of them. China was not in, I would say, none of them. And take this, Yugoslavia, bombardment, take Iraq invasion, take Afghanistan invasion, take Syria, take Libya, take now Ukraine, look for the Balkans again, Serbia again, and upcoming events, we're going to have the same common denominator involved, and that is Al Capone. Expect, as I said already, Serbia and the Balkans, Kosovo, that's going to be another garbage where the United States will be there involved in one way or another, building a coalition, being the big guy, and so on. Next one, in the Middle East right now with Israel and Gaza. The goal, as I said many times, is not Gaza. The goal over there is Iran. Now, Iran has a problem with some people. Again, you're going to have the United States as a common denominator. Why? He's going to be over there as well. Then you move east, in Far East. You're going to have Taiwan. In Taiwan, again, you're going to have the Americans. And the North Koreans, the ones that I have right now in this article that I'm going to discuss today, again, USA, Al Capone will be the common denominator. So any other wars around the globe that you can name that where the United States was not involved, let's say in the past 30 years, where it actually was the boss around the neighborhood. United States was the boss since 1991. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was the unchallenged boss. Now you look at the past 30 years and you tell me if those years were great, freedom was brought, democracy, justice, and peace. Now you can say, well, you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Well, but it seems like these eggs are always broken by one country that somehow asserts itself and appointed itself as being the guy in charge of the planet, of that. Why? I mean, if we say that things are just and, a rule-based world order and United Nations and all that, why do we have one self-appointed country being in charge of everybody, or wannabe? Now it's challenged obviously by Russia and by China and by India and possibly by Brazil. All these guys will probably challenge, and they are right now. Definitely Russia is challenging the Al Capone and its gang in Ukraine. So why I started like this is just to show you that we are ready, I think, for something in the Far East very looking, so how should I put it, resembling the Ukraine garbage. Ukraine, what's going on in Ukraine could have been avoided 100%. But someone didn't want that. So we're going to have probably something of the same kind in the Far East, involving China and possibly North Korea. Remember, it is not North Korea going to the shores of California. It's the other way around. Or going to the shores, the western shores of, let's say, Canada, by Vancouver. No, it's Canada. Or doesn't go by Sydney, Australia. It's the Australians. It's not going by London. No, teams and so on. No, they come over there. These guys are patrolling over there, keeping peace. It's always about keeping peace. And when you say, hey, you're too close, mind your own businesses. Why? Because they don't want to see it from the other side. Why should they? They have the power, that's enough, they think. That's what I thought in Ukraine, and they get smacked. So we have here a big escalation from here, from this point where we are, for instance, with North Korea, and possibly with China in Taiwan, but North Korea, they are one more step away from achieving their goal. One more step. But they don't want to go in a direct confrontation, Al Capone, with North Korea, because they will get scattered. They will get a blue eye, maybe a tooth out during the fight. They will win. But the problem, they will have some victims around. Victims that they really don't want. Because if something happens between United States here, using these guys here to attack this guy or provoke that guy, Kim Jong-un, he's going to retaliate with nuclear weapons. And the United States will be unscattered mostly, but these guys will be obliterated. But it's not the United States of America. And everything was for freedom, do the right thing, the right cause, democracy, and all the same garbage. These guys go around the world and tell everybody how to live because that's the best. And they know it somehow. But they dropped 2 atomic bombs. The only ones, but they know it. Invaded countries, destroyed societies, imposed sanctions, crippled countries like Cuba, for instance, with embargoes and so on. But hey, they're the good ones because they're like parents. We are tards, and we need some parents to tell us to, go and eat, wipe our asses, clean our rooms, do the homework and so on, because we don't know otherwise. We just... That's how they see us supposedly functioning. So let me show you this article, which is, as I said, one step away from a Ukraine in the Far East. The same thing is with Taipei. Let's put it that way. CNN. North Korea says any US interference with its space assets will be deemed, and I'm quoting, declaration of war. So what happened? The woodchuck right here, Kim Jong-un, he launched, they say, with the help of the Russians now, a spy satellite. Supposedly, they were under the UN sanctions not to be allowed to do that because they're bad dudes. But United States of America, which drops 2 atomic bombs, are the good dudes, okay? Anyway, these guys did not drop an atomic bomb just by default, so must be somehow worse than these guys. So they're under embargo. They say, well, we did it because we have the right under the pressure and the escalation, provocations coming from the US, bringing its nuclear submarine. I think it was one submarine that showed up at the shores of South Korea. And they say, wait a minute, these guys brought nuclear submarine next to us. What are we supposed to do? Just wait for it to nuke us? No. So they said if they do this as a self-defense, as other countries by definition, and all countries by definition should be entitled to, have the right to, but one country is special and will have forever and can do whatever in the name of self-defense. Can you name that? Yeah, that one, yeah. You got it. Anyway, so here we have Kim Jong-un, the woodchuck, and he says, you know what, if you're going to touch our satellite, spy, the only one I think is the first one, you touch that, that's a declaration of war. And I suspect that satellite to be blown up or whatever, affected. Something will collide with it and will damage it. Not destroy it, damage it. And it will be bombarded in space with something, boom, crack, takes it off orbit, destroyed some, and that's it. Not operational anymore. Now, if you say that's okay, that means anybody else can do the same thing with your satellites. And the way you're gonna answer, not you, but I'm talking, they will say, nobody will dare. So you see, everything is based on power, not on justice. Because if you would try to justify it like, why? We're the good people. All right, let me just get the file out. Okay, you're the good people? No, here too? What about this? What about this? What about Vietnam? Huh? What about this? What about the Second World War? What about the intervention in the Middle East? What about this? So no, you're not a good guy. All right. There's nobody. My bad. Mea culpa. Nobody except China, a good guy. Why? Because I had some a long time ago some conversations with some Chinese friends from China living in the United States of America, and they explained to me that no, China never did anything wrong. So I said, okay, everybody else had some bad deeds in their past, but China. But China's story is not over, and I suspect China to once it thinks it got the upper hand over the past abusers, which is the European and Japan, to them up real bad. That's why these guys should think about it. But I think they're going to be, we're in charge, we're going to take care of got nuclear weapons. If China gets the upper hand, they're going to start their little tour of payback. I guarantee you that. I will not be around by then because it's not going to happen in the first, I don't know, in the next, let's say, 20 years. Yeah, that's how much I give me. But if these guys have other thoughts, maybe I give myself 2-3 years, and you too. You too, because these guys are going to you to us. Zzz, boom. So let's see what these guys are saying here. I mean, the threat was clear. The warning: North Korea has warned any potential interference or attack on its space assets by the United States will be deemed a declaration of war. And that means, what are you going to do? Because I can declare war but don't do anything. The state media said, and I'm quoting, the U.S. Space Force's deplorable hostility towards the DPRK's reconnaissance satellite can never be overlooked, as it is just a challenge to the sovereignty of the DPRK, and more exactly, a declaration of war against it, end quote, the country's defense ministry said in a statement. So let's see what the hell it says. What are you going to do about it? The warning came less than 2 weeks after Pyongyang said it had put its first spy satellite into space in a move which analysts predicted could enable the country to more accurately target opponents' forces if the spacecraft works. So can the Americans, so can the French, the British. Where are they special? Are different? Goddamn, you are. You think you are. Neither South Korea, the United States, or Japan, all of which are experiencing increasing military tensions. They're experiencing, with North Korea confirmed that Malkyong-1 has made it into the orbit. So these guys experience increasing military tensions. Why? Not because of North Korea. I would claim that because of Al Capone and its common denominating actions. If I suspect that that's a theory, that if United States as a country, let's say, right now would disappear, I don't wish for that. It's a scenario. Let's say would not be there. It doesn't exist. God comes and says, you know what, you're the best here. You can't live among all these garbage, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take you here, okay? You will stay next to me on my left or my right. Doesn't really matter. On my lap. Okay, so Jesus comes and takes him and puts it on the lap because we are so good. We are perfect. You should not get dirty with, you know what I mean? Okay, if that would happen, praise God, then what do you think is going to happen in the Middle East? What do you think is going to happen in the Baltic States area and Poland? What do you think in Europe? What do you think will happen in the Far East? Do you think that the world will explode? Well, if you think so, that means we have kind of a narcissistic worldview. That is, without us, everything crumbles. We are the only ones who keep everything together in this kind of harmony. Without us, everything will crumble. Like these guys say about certain kind of, I got the, and without that, I probably would have died. You don't know that. You don't know that. You want to think that way, that's fine. But the fact that you got sick, and you were already click, that tells me that, okay? Anyway, so same here. Don't think that without us the world will be crumbling. That's an, as I said, narcissistic worldview. Maybe the world will be flourishing, will be perfect. And then Jesus Christ is going to come and say, hey, you made it, guys. Come over here. and get us all with him on his spacecraft. So here is, my friends, the common denominator is one step from achieving his goal. Al Capone, one step, just destroy one of these guys or damage one of their assets in space and see what happens. They told you, we are cocked, cluck, or chick chick, ready. We'll see. I think they will push for it. They will push for in January. Remember, they in Taiwan there will be elections, and then the people, including one woman who was, I got her educated in the United States of America on 3 universities, if I remember correctly. She I think she has U.S. citizenship as well. If I don't make a confusion, I know she was educated. I can't remember. I think it was 3. It was Yale, Columbia, and the third one was not Hopkins. I can't remember university. Anyway, she's born here, I think, as States of America, and she's over there. She's gonna win, and she said that she's gonna fight for the independence of Taiwan. At which China said 2 days ago, if they will say that, we're going to militarily invade. So that's the last step. One more step. China and North Korea will declare and will get everything in flames because of the common denominator that is not going to fight directly with them. We're going to have other idiots fight for their interests, like they do it in Ukraine. Good job. So clear, so evident. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.